excited to have them on board for this program that we put together. This series is a large series we've put together called the DXO Year Ahead Directions. And every year before COVID, there was an activity that we used to do. About 16 years ago, our company got the IBG brands, which included the CIO magazine, the CSO magazine, the CMO magazine, and CEO magazine. These were international franchises, and they used to run in about 98 countries, and I think we were the 99th country to run this in Pakistan. And the idea really was to bring together CIOs, executive leaders, and enterprise digital leadership under one umbrella and talk to them and just uncover the insights that are there in the local industry. One of the key challenges that Pakistan still has is that there's very little data, reporting, or insights that come from a local perspective. And this only helps us make better, of course, business decisions and co-create future leaders like yourselves. So the people you will see here through the rest of the day, you will really see that they were the first, first batch of C-level executives when it comes to banking and other, dominant industries. And they really set very, very high expectations of what your roles and what your future will also look like. So we're excited to have an interesting conversation through the day. We've got some panel discussions and a fireside chat lined up for you to learn from them directly. This program, as I said, we're doing a series of about 9 to 10 events where we're covering different areas. So for example, last week we kicked off our campus conference with FAST University. We're going to a couple of universities in the next few days. All of this is going to culminate into the DXO Year Ahead Directions Summit, which is going to be a gathering of C-level and enterprise digital leadership to come together, where we will also be launching or announcing the launch of the DXO magazine. This is the world's first DXO magazine. Our magazine, which started with CIO earlier on, has also evolved given the state of how the enterprise now is. In this day and age, the modern enterprise is now looking at a digital transformation officer who's really leading that change. And that doesn't come with one single designation, it's actually spread across the C-suite of people who are leading that change. I'd like to now call on stage the industry veteran that we have the honor of sharing our stage here today. Before that, just a quick thank you to the IBA team and, of course, our program patrons who've graciously been supporting us for the last many, many years. We've been very carefully, sort of curating who we want to work with to bring this program to life, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without the possibility of their support. So once again, let me just quickly present to you, we have our presenter patron, COMMTEL, we have our prestige patrons, InfoTech Private Limited and ITCN Asia, and our power patrons, which include C-Square, Salesforce, and Tableau. So thank you once again to IBA and our patrons for enabling or bringing this program to life. With this, I would like you all to join me in welcoming Mr. Faisal Anwar, the Chief Technology Officer at HPN. He's been with us for many, many years. Every organization that he's gone to, sort of followed him around and had him, bother us for. And so we'd really like to, have him set the tone for what the digital transformation roadmap has looked like for Pakistan, particularly in the banking industry.
Thank you, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you once again, IBA. I think it's quite some time, and after that I'm back again. So it's always good to be back here. So last time I was here, I think it was in April. Normally when I come to university, I do not have a preset, defined thing that I will be presenting. So I would rather order my thoughts and make it come as very natural so that we can relate more to it, rather than just saying it out of context. So digital transformation is nothing new. It's always been there, but I think it's come to limelight more often. So let's define, first of all, what does digital transformation mean to all of us. So can I quickly, one or two people tell me what does that mean to them? So right at the back, I guess, so what does it mean to you, digital transformation? Anything means. It could also mean that this means to you that you have a new car.
By digital transformation, we can say that we are digitalizing the process of payments, like bill payments and transferring money from one place to another, and that's how we are automating the processes that used to be manual at one time, like just by checks and there was no sort of digital method or medium where you could transfer money.
Okay.
For me personally, I think it more so involves efficiency, because of course with digitization we have reduced the possibility of human errors by incorporating computers, and also made sure that the processes take less and less time as the technology is advancing. So for me personally, that's how I see digital transformation. Would incorporate the the computing technologies that are improving every day to improve our lives and to make the processes efficient.
Oh, so thank you for your contribution. So now let's put the context to it. So this is how we see it when you're sitting on that side of the table, and that's okay. That's the right way of looking at it. And then something changes when you sit on this side of the table. So now we need to see what is the context and how things transform. So when we say, and I've been saying it for a very, very long time, every time that I go out and I speak, digital transformation largely from where we see is not only about bringing in technology. So that's number one phenomenon. First of all, any organization that needs to go into any kind of transformation, and now because we are in the digital era, so, and I'll come to the D part. So first let's say transformation and then add D to it. So transformation has always been there, then the D goes added to it. And a time will come, ITC gets added to it. So I don't know, I'm just making it up. So, but let's stick to D for now, right? So I was just keeping it on a lighter note. So that means day zero, before you embark upon that journey, do not enter into it blindfolded. This is where most of the transformations do fail. That we define what is a transformation by an action to what we see. And I've seen that happening quite many times. So I think I've done at least 3 large transformations in my life. I might do one more before I call it off and do something else. But every time, and many more that I have seen, that every time I've seen it failing, the way it fails is that we define it rather than we saying it what is our North Star. So there's a definition and there is a North Star. So a North Star could be that you want to be on the moon. And then by definition is that to get to the moon, first you take a flight to Dallas, then from there you will fly to NASA station, from there you will take a space shuttle, then you will go to the space, and then a moon station you will land. And these 2 things needs to be well differentiated before even you embark upon a journey. So a North Star needs to be well defined. So when you enter into your career, this is personal transformation. So you enter into a career, as you move along in your early days, some of you might think that you want to be a doctor, but by the time you reach your OA levels, you say, no, I want to be a data scientist or something else. So first of all, a transformational journey needs to have a North Star well defined. So you define a North Star. So what I do say, and I've been saying it for a very long time, a North Star for a banking industry, for transformation, what it could be. And I could be absolutely wrong, there are learned people more than me, but at least the way I see it or I drive it, I say that, okay, number one, and it's a very normal, not technological North Star defined, that it will be a lifestyle bank. So there will be no bank practically. It will only be a lifestyle. So what does that mean now? Once you have defined that North Star, what does that North Star mean? Now you need to unfold it for many people around you, because okay, you've done it, but then what does that mean? A lifestyle banking means that a customer, and we were having this very light conversation earlier down before this session, that there will be customers, they will have no loyalty to a brand, but they have a loyalty to their lifestyle. So today, and we were having this shared, my father had an account in National Bank. I don't have an account in National Bank. I still remember it. There's nothing wrong with that. But so my first banking experience was that I took a brass coin in a National Bank when I went in cash check. That was Marlboro Double. Do you still go and take a brass coin in the bank? and most of you are not even seeing what the branch point looks like. It has numbers put in, and it has a hole in the center, and the cashier takes it and he puts it there. So that means now I need to define what is North Star. So North Star definition, what I did, I said that okay, it will be a lifestyle bank. Now when we get to lifestyle, then we need to further granularly define it. What does that mean? That means as a human and as an individual, what are my expectations? क्योंकि आप जान रहे हैं तो मैं थोड़ा सा आपके लेवल पे आके बात करूँ तो उस एज एंड उस लाइफ टाइम में थोड़ी सी हम बेचैन रूप भी होते हैं। बेचैन रूप का मतलब होता है you can't sit at one place at a given point in time. That means we don't like friction. मुझे चाहिए, मुझे अभी चाहिए, वरना मुझे नहीं चाहिए। कर लो जो करना है। So that means a transformation, North Star defined. Subsequently, we said that it would be lifestyle banking, and then the third step is that it would be a frictionless banking. Now I'm coming. So if you see from where I started, I never talked about the bank at day 0. Day 1, when I was doing the definition, it was not about the bank. The third step is it is going to be frictionless banking. Now, because my customer is again, जिसको मैंने डिफाइन किया as a बेचैन रूप, I might be one of them, so don't feel offended with that. What does that mean? So that I have reached down to a step that it has frictionless banking. The next step is, जो मैंने मजाक में बात की, मुझे चाहिए अभी चाहिए वरना नहीं चाहिए. So that means I need a bank anytime, anywhere, any device. What if I have left my phone home? I need it on my laptop. What if I have left my laptop and my phone home? I need it at the kiosk. What I have left all of this home, I still need it at ATM. What if I have left my ATM home? I still need it ATM card. I still need it without the ATM card. So granularity started to kick in, and this is how you start deciding a nirvana. Now, so once you have decided that this is the nirvana, now you start making the happy flows of how do you get there. You start making swim lanes. Abhi tak I'm a CTO, I've been a CIO for at least 3 large banks in Pakistan. I've done UBS, I've done MCB, now I'm at HPO. If you see, I have not talked about technology yet. So now I start writing my swim lanes. What does this mean? Because if you were to get into a branch, what do you feel what a branch should look like? Right? Starting from that a persona that you want to see a cashier in, and nothing against anything, somebody might be okay to see it in a white shalwatani, but some might not like to see it in a white or other in a shalwatani. So starting from there, how do they speak, how do they conduct, and what they can do, and what kind of transaction would you like that person to do when you enter? So when you enter into a branch, what should be your first touch point? Do you need somebody to welcome you? Or do you want somebody to come and say that, okay, can I help you? So if that is the case, then what is your second step and the third step and the fourth step? I don't want to be here for the rest of the evening, so I'm going to skip some steps. But once I get to a cashier, do I just want him to encash a check? Or do I want him to also give you a cash back? Do I want him to be able to sell you a car? Do I want him to sell you a credit card also? This all needs to be in that swim lane. So once all of this is defined into the swim lanes, you say that, okay, now I am at large, I have done my process. You have not done your transformation. So there is a difference between transformation and a process. A swim lane is a process definition. So now you have done your process documentation. Now you go back and you say that now I need to do a BPR. Something we have all forgotten about. And you straight jump into the next level. So you go and take this process flow back and you say that now my North Star was that I had defined. The subset of that was that is going to be lifestyle banking. Underneath the definition is that it is frictionless banking. And underneath that is bank anywhere, anytime, any device. So I've done my process flow, I've done my swim lane, now let me remove the process waste out of it. Why? If you have not done this, you will only produce junk much faster. So if I reverse this plane, which is very easily be doable, so I say that, okay, I go into an organization and the first thing I do is, okay, I need to automate, I need to do this, I need to digitize, I need to do this, okay, let's bring in RPA. So I've digitized it, I've not transformed it. When I digitized it, what did I do? All I have done is that I used to produce junk, now I produce it much faster. Then I add more compute to it, then I produce it much faster. So you need to do the process of elimination because you need to get back to your three main statements: frictionless banking, lifestyle banking. So a process needs to be frictionless. So you remove the process waste. Now you have done that part. So you now can say in your organization, or if you are in a bank like me, you would say, I have now transformed my process. Now once you have done that, now you need to find the right fit of technology. So I'll give you now context to the banks. So some of the bankers that we are aware are the greenfield banks, and they have a very good success story. Some of them are brownfield banks, like the one I work for. It's a bank with a history, a legacy, and we need to put in far more effort. So that between the green and the brownfield bank is that a bank that was in an infancy stage or actually took existence when the technology was much more modern. So banks like Habib, UBL, and the other ones, which were quite old. So when I was in UBL, we used to have a core banking, which was Unibank, which was homegrown. Now I'm in MCB and we were having this conversation just a while ago. We run MySys, which is on RPG. You go and find out an RPG programmer, I think you will come back with no hairs on your head and you will still not find that. So you transform your process. Now you start aligning and mapping technology to it. So once you start aligning and mapping technology to it, you digitize your transformed process, but you have not made it digital. Now that's a very, very sleek line. And I'm trying to be very, at your level, I'm not trying to get at techie. So why I'm saying this? Because आपने किया ये कि आपने कहा मेरा ये जो process है, इसमें से मैंने process waste निकाल दिया, अब मैं इसको RPA लगा देता हूँ, अब मैं इसको workflow बना देता हूँ, अब मैं इसको centralize कर देता हूँ. So now what you have done is you have digitized your process. Now it comes to the DX part, which is digital transformation. So the digitization and the digital, the two words, have a very sleek line in between, which is defined by an organization being a data-driven organization. So you can digitize an organization, you can digitize the process, but you will not make it digital, at least in my books. An organization will become digitally transformed the day you turn the organization around and you say, now we are an organization or a bank which is a data-driven. Now what does that mean? What is a data-driven organization? That means today I make decisions based on my liking. Yes or no? So because I go and shop in Dolphin Mall, I think there should be an HPL ATM inside Dolphin Mall. And because I live in DHA phase 8, so it has to be, there needs to be a close by ATM near my house. So these are personal driven things, and hence they are not data driven. So if you convert all of your data back, an organization, and banks do have the data because you do transaction and so as we have the data. And you start learning the algorithms on top of that, and you say that now I will start making decisions based on my data set. Where do I have more footfall? Does that make sense for me to have an ATM there? Rather than just because I get my car refueled from a PSO or Etihad, so because every time I need a cash there, so I need to have an ATM there. No. Versus a data point, the reason I specifically mentioned Etihad PSO, don't come here because I normally have my wallet empty, so just in case you have any thoughts. The reason I said is that the data that is being generated by that endpoint, if you pick that data, which is, that means that most of the people might be paying on that petrol station through their credit card, and you are capturing that, and you analyze that, and you build a model on top of that, and then you say that, okay, if I would go into more pockets as my credit card or my debit card, because the payment is being made digitally, this type of a product, or might be I need to do a co-branded PSO card. Now, hence you start making your organization be a data-driven. So you have done three things. First step, you transform your process. Second step, you remove the process waste. Third step, you digitize the process. The fourth step, you bring in the data and you say, now I've done the digital transformation. And this is where then you go back and you then do a check that the North Star that I had defined, how much I have covered as a distance. Because you said I will be frictionless bank. I will be?
Lifestyle bank.
No, I will be a frictionless bank and I will be a bank anytime, anywhere, any device. Lifestyle is definitely, because that was one notch above that. You go back and you run this cycle again. So the DX is combined with the CX. So if DX is not put together as a CX, and CX stands normally as a customer experience. So if the DX and the CX are not overlaid on top of each other, you are again on the wrong path. Because that means the digital transformation journey that you have embarked upon is surely your will, require more knowledge, rather than to transform your organization what your customer needs. So your digital transformation, while you take all these steps, they need to be remapped with the customer experience, because your customer need is changing. So you don't want your customer to be leaving out. So one of the case studies that we did, and I think I will leave it there, because Akshay told me that no more than 10 minutes. So I'm going to clock it there. So one of the case studies that we did, and this is where I just want to leave you with that thought of how an organization can become a data-driven, right? So one case study that we did, that we are a bank, and we have a large amount of data set. So we wrote an ML model that what kind of transactions normally go through this ecosystem. Then we went out and partnered with a third-party provider who had a different data set, and we overlaid this data set on top of that data set. Now what was that data set? That data set was non-banking data set. It could be from your mall. Pakistan, unfortunately, the malls would not collect that much of a data because there is no free Wi-Fi. So when you log in, so there is no collection of the data feeds there. But a telco does have a data set. So we took the data set from a telco and we overlaid the banking data on top of the telco data. And we said that, okay, let's see where the customer is most of the time. So you will find out that when you overlay all of these two things, then you will find out that your branch is, let's say, in IBA campus, but majority of the time your customers are somewhere 2 kilometers from there. I'm not very well versed about this area, so I'm not giving you the, I don't want to end up saying that, okay, they are near CPU, but let's say they are about 3 kilometers up or 3 kilometers down or somewhere near the airport. Now you go back on the drawing board and you see that do you really want your branch to be here when your customer is 2 kilometers away from here. You go further up and you say that, okay, the data set, which is again a lot of data, and I want to do caution you with something else also. So for example, the smartphone can give you a lot of data set. So if I have a lot of customers who have an Azan or a Qibla app downloaded, do I really think that I should have a conventional branch there? Or should I be going into Islamic banking there? Now, I'm just relating what I just said earlier so that there is a practical linkage to what I'm saying versus just the speed that I left you with into your thoughts. That I overlaid my data with the third-party data and I made a decision. So a decision support system was created to help the digital transformation of an entity. That okay, you need to be here. There is a large concentration of a customer base. It is 2 kilometers from where you are. The customer segment would potentially be better off with being Islamic than versus being conventional. So you can always say that okay, जैसे जहाज में autopilot होता है, the pilot is still there, so you can always override. So you can still override. You say no, I don't want to do this. This is a misleading data set. So the false positive will always remain there. So you can say that okay, I can validate on ground reality, then I move my branch 2 kilometers north from here, and I'm going to convert a conventional branch into an Islamic branch. So this is how all of this gets together. The thought that I want to make sure that I leave you out with, that when you get into this space of AI, a lot of buzzword that is out there, please do make sure that you are socially corporate, responsible citizen and a company at the same time. Because there is a very sleek line when we are operating in this space. When do we include into your personal space, you don't even know. Not as a bank, me. Anyone who is working in the data space, you need to be socially responsible that, okay, this is how far I will go with this model. That's number one. Number two, when you are building model, if you are into data engineering, data science, or you are a data modeler, make sure of this that you do your model governance well. A model biasness is a phenomena that can make you or break you as an entity or as an individual. Now, how? So we have beliefs in the back of the head. So there are, जिसको कहते हैं ना back of the mind या जिसको कहते हैं subconsciousness. So they are there and we operate by that. But they are normally not being taken into account as a normal life. But when you are modeling and you end up modeling in a way that your subconscious get into the model, that means when you keep training your model, it will keep maturing up. The model will continue to think like that. Now, for example, I don't want to discriminate, so with all due respect and apology, I'm trying to narrate an example, not that anybody practices that. For example, if someone has very strong religious or ethnic beliefs or any other belief by race, and that model get to it, that you embed that part, and that model is supposed to now tell you how to cross-sell, you will not be able to cross-sell. And there are case studies available in the US markets where people have actually taken the companies to court on the model bias. For example, don't lend to a race which is, let's say, black, right? Now, what does that mean? Now, number one, you close the door on one segment of your business. You told your model, whenever you make a decision, you will not make a decision based on this race. On top of that, your model is now being biased. So, while you do all of these journeys together, where I want to end this is that governance is the key to success. If you don't govern your digital transformation well, and you will look for a shortcut, you will most likely to fail. You need to decide your technology transformation into business value delivery. So, unfortunately, we are part of the world where we do not do much of innovation. We say we do, but the largest scheme of things, we are the followers. So that means there are other followers also. So any technology acquisition that you do as part of your digital transformation, just you should know that somebody else is anyway following. So if you can reserve that transformation into 6 to 9 months of business deepening, you are in a good space to be in. That means it's a good return of money that you have spent. While you embark upon another caution, you must make sure that you will also fail. So you should keep a cushion of some space, either in form of fiscal or in terms of human capital or in terms of emotional space, that during this process not everything will be walking over the waters. You will fail, but the beauty lies in that how quickly you recoup, you stand up and you start running that marathon. So with that, thank you very much.